Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brant with CPC Bodybuilding, Classic Physique Co. And it's been a minute, but we are back to talk classic. And got a special guest today. This is my buddy James Smith, who is a Class D national champion in Classic Physique, as well as an Ifbb Classic Physique Pro, coming off a top 10 finish at the New York Pro this past year. James, it's great to see you, brother.
Yes, sir, Brant. Always great to see you. It was great to see you at the Olympia. We had a good time and seeing those guys up there, got me motivated too. So it's always nice to recap the Olympia when you get real motivated from it. So ready to do it.
Hell yeah, man. Let's do it. So, as James said, guys, we were there at Classic Physique prejudging. James and I go to the Olympia pretty frequently. So, we've been there, we've seen this before, and we know what we're looking for. It's always a great time. If you guys haven't been to the Olympia, make sure you go. But what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through, recap the Olympia, and get James's thoughts, as a guy who has been there and competed at these top level pro shows. He stood with these guys on stage. Like, getting his expert opinion, I think, matters a lot and can really give you guys some good insights as to what we're looking for in classic physique and kind of the way things shook out the way they did. So we'll go ahead and just recap. In case if you guys live under a rock, Ramon Dino ended up winning the Mr. Olympia. So the kid from Brazil, an amazing story, man. Like, Ramon is the ultimate rags to riches story. Grew up in like the jungles of Brazil
Yo,
and has ascended to Olympia fame, becoming only the fourth classic physique Mr. Olympia. The first one, Danny Hester, of course, then Breon 2 times, and then Chris Bumstead, as everybody knows. And Ramon Dino takes the crown here for Brazil in a really close decision, actually. It was a 1 point
one
decision
point.
between him and Mike Sommerfeld.
Yep.
So, James, just looking at these results, were there any guys in here who made this that might have surprised you? Everybody has their expectations going into the Olympia. Did seeing any of these guys make certain placings kind of surprise you, or did anybody like come out of nowhere?
I had a couple surprises in that group, and I don't know that they were necessarily surprises where like you didn't see it coming. It was more surprises like, wow, they shot up like that. And the first one that came to mind was Diego in sixth place. I mean, that guy, he's not tall, right? So he doesn't have great commandment of the stage, but his physique is just so put together. And especially from his back shot, he has a back that just opens up and it's just so wide, it's so thick. And I just, Diego was the biggest surprise, I guess you could say. He's just very well put together. And then my other surprise that I was just like very happy for was Justin Batterina coming in ninth and getting that top 10 placing. I think Justin Batterina's got a huge potential in this division. He's got such a structure that's just aesthetically pleasing. He's got the small waist. He's got the large appendages. I mean, he's got that classic shape, and I was just very happy for him that he moved up into the top 10. But those two guys for sure were my biggest wow guys in this group. And then also in fifth, Niall Darwin coming in fifth. I saw him at the Toronto Pro, and when he won the Toronto Pro, I was like, he's going to be a problem in the future for sure. And he's another one of these shape guys where it's just like that structure, that shape that he has is just absolutely nuts. And the more he works on it, the better he gets. He's going to be a threat for a long, long time for sure.
Yeah, man, the structure in this top 10, even the top 15, man, is
Yeah.
just insane. Some of these guys just
Yeah.
have insane shape. And like, really, when you get to this level, everybody has really good shape, but these guys have like S tier great shape.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
oh, you go ahead, man.
yeah. And Brand, I'll make a strong statement here, but I can stand by this. I've been thinking about this before we were going to get on here, but that top six in my opinion, this is just my opinion, that top six, I do not see anyone threatening that top six group for a long time. I think that top six group 1 through 6 this year, they might shuffle places in the next few years. They might shuffle around like where they place, but that top six group of Diego, Niall Darwin, Jose Ma, Terrence, Mike Sommerfeld, Ramon. I mean, these guys are just so incredibly talented. I don't see anyone in that other group threatening the top six. Maybe Justin Batterina, just because of how insane his structure is, but he may be the only one that can threaten this top six is Justin, in my opinion, just because look at that. I mean, he's just so talented with his structure, his shape. He could be a threat to that top six, but I think that top six is going to be pretty solidified for the next several years. I don't think anyone in that group is going to be leaving anytime soon. I think they're all pretty young. So yeah, it's a pretty strong top six group.
Yeah, man, these guys are dogs. Like you were saying, they're still young guys. Like I think the oldest one out of all of them is Mike, and I want to say
He's
Mike's
like
like,
32
yeah, he's not even old. Like that's very young by bodybuilding
for
standards.
sure, for sure.
Terrence is like 29 or 30. I mean, hell, Ramon, I think Ramon's like 27, 28, and then
I think Terrence is in the lower 30s too.
yeah,
But I mean, still, I mean, these guys are in the prime in bodybuilding years. Your 30s, that's the prime. You know,
yeah,
your mid to late 30s is the prime of your physical career as a bodybuilder. I mean, you look at some of these past Mr. Olympias. I know that's the open division, but a lot of those guys were in their late 30s. Samson was in his late 30s. I know Derek Lunsford's in his 30s. So, but anyway, the point is these guys are going to be around for a while, and I really don't see anyone threatening them except for Justin.
yeah. And something I want to kind of speak on is the whole height weight situation. There's so much hype going into this. Like people are giving Mike so much shit,
Oh
man. And
yeah, oh
I was
yeah,
so tired of it. I'm just like,
yeah,
he's they're accusing him of cheating, all this
yeah,
stuff. And I'm like, dude, he's literally just like he's showing up to the show and just
yeah.
competing. Like
So
if they height him in wrong, it's their fault. It's not
so
Mike's fault.
so the height thing, here's what it is. All right, these guys come into the show, they have the haircut, right, and they have the top hair, and Chris Bumstead did this. I mean, this is not a new thing. This is there for some reason this year. Everyone acted like this was a new thing. Oh, guys are making their hair on top real tall so that they don't get heighted correctly, and I'm like, Chris Bumstead was doing that since 2018. Like, this is not a new thing. I think the reason it was such a big deal this year was because I think everybody knew that Ramon was coming, and those Brazilian fans are very passionate, and they were like, "Hey, like, we're gonna make sure that this is done right because if our guy has a chance to win, we want to make sure that everything's done correctly." And I think they did a good job this year of making sure that those guys were hiding incorrectly. Those photos came out later, where they did those behind closed doors, but we still saw the photos where the paddle's right on top of the guy's head. And that's exactly how it should be. When I got hided this year for Pittsburgh and for New York, same guys were doing it for us, and they make sure it's flat on top of your head. That's how it's supposed to be. So I don't think that was an issue this year. I think it was kind of blown out of proportion, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, completely agree, man. I think a lot of people made it out to be an issue when it was really just a non-issue. Like this was not.
Yeah.
If you've heard the story of what Model Man was doing, you remember him, 212 guy.
Yeah.
He showed up in like a Rastafarian wig one time, and like and tried to gain like 3 or 4 inches
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of it. So like
Yeah.
it's not anything egregious like that. I think
Yeah.
Mike's got the slick back hair. He just showing up trying to take care of business, So
Yeah.
and it didn't even matter because I mean
And it,
he looked great, and people are talking about this huge weight difference
yeah.
between last year and this year. They're like, oh, he's like something like 14 pounds less on stage. I'm like, it's not going to matter. It's really
Yeah.
not, because Mike is such a beast, man. He's just so complete, and
Yeah.
the structure carries.
The density of Mike is what carries him in this division. At this type of show, the Olympia, like if you don't have the density, the size, the shape, the conditioning, especially, you're not gonna. you're not going to do well. I mean, this is the top of the top, and Mike's density. I mean, there's very few people in classic physique across the entire pro division that can come close to Mike on density, and that's why he's second in the world.
Yeah, and we got the return of Terrence Ruffin, of course.
Yep.
Probably the best poser of all time, up there with guys like Lee Labrada, Flex
Yep.
Wheeler. One of the best to ever do it. And it was really good. Even though he didn't win, it was really good seeing him back on stage and really just capitalizing on a really big opportunity. I do know he's doing another show this upcoming
Yep.
weekend in Brazil, even though he's already
Yep.
secured the qualification for next year. So um,
Yep.
really happy to see Terrence back up there too.
Try doing a routine after him.
Oh my God.
I had to do a posing routine right after his, and I just had crickets from the crowd because it was like going from Mozart to like a garage band. It was just, I'm not the best poser in the world. I'm not the worst, but Terrence is just he's larger than life. Like I've competed with him at Pittsburgh Pro and New York Pro this year, and he's just like I said, he's larger than life. I mean, his presence, the way he carries himself, so professional. His posing, the way he conducts himself. I mean, I was very happy for him that he got third. Personally, I had him winning the show, but the judges felt Ramon did, and that's fine. But like I said, I can't speak highly enough of Terrence. Uh, he's a super incredible bodybuilder. I mean, look at him. He's got all the structure needed. He's got the posing. He's got the unique classic posing that he can pull off for his physique. I mean, can't speak highly enough of him. I mean, he's a great guy too. So, hey, very happy for Terrence. He's definitely going to be around as a threat in that top three the next several years.
Yeah. Switching gears a little bit, talking about a couple of guys who fell further than anticipated. I made predictions before the show. A lot of other pundits did the same thing. I probably had this guy a touch lower than everybody else. I had Logan, I think, in my 5 or 6 spot, and everybody was telling me, or no, hell, I think I had him eighth. But I mean, everybody's telling me, oh, Logan's going to come in like fourth or fifth, or even as high as top three. So what happened here, James?
With Logan, Logan's a great bodybuilder. Obviously, I mean he's got the classic structure, the way he poses, the way he carries himself on stage. He's very much old school and embodies classic physique on that front. I think what happened with Logan is just it just wasn't his day. I mean, he just seemed like he was off a little bit. He seemed a little rattled on stage. I don't know if you remember Brant when we were watching him on stage. He just seemed like he was shook that he wasn't in that first call out, and then he started to fade. After that, when he was in that second call out in that second group, it seemed like he was fading as the posing was going on. It seemed like his motivation was kind of waning a little bit. I'm not saying he gave up or anything. It just seemed like when he didn't get in that first call, he looked defeated by his body language. And I know, like, that doesn't get judged, but it matters. It really does matter because it shows how you carry yourself. It shows how you pose, your confidence, stage presence, all that stuff. And I just don't feel like, I think he expected to be in that first call out. And then when it didn't happen, he kind of faded.
Yeah, that's definitely important to note. I I think another thing that's important is highlighting just how deep this division is. I don't think a lot of people
Very,
realize that, especially when it comes to the Olympia, man. Like this entire top 15 right here, we
the
we
best in the world.
literally we literally had a two-time Mr. Olympia who has never placed outside of the top 5 finish in 14th this year.
Yeah.
That speaks to the level of talent here, and I mean,
Yeah.
like 12th place, Logan in 12th place, like he very well could move up to the top 5 next year. He's that good. And this
And
lineup is just so deep, man.
and the peaking strategies that people use. I mean, here's the thing: the Olympia is the best in the world. All right, this is the top show. You can't get any better. This is the mountaintop. Okay, everyone's going to bring their A game. Everyone's going out, going all out. Right. When you're peaking, it's such a precious process that you have to make sure you get right. And some people, it can go wrong. And I think some of these guys, if they were just a little bit off in their peaking process where they were a little flat, they were a little not a little less full than they usually are. They weren't having as much pop as they usually do at prejudging. That can make the difference. I mean, I know it's a there's a two-part show, prejudging in the morning and then you have the finals in the evening, but sometimes it's too late, to show up at finals the way you should have looked at prejudging when you're full popping and everything, but you were flat in the morning. Um, Peaking is a big deal here, and I think some of these guys might have missed their peak.
So with Logan dropping perceived expectations, a few placings. What about Breon, man? I was so surprised to see
Yeah,
Breon not in the first call out. Like, I mean, granted, everybody in the first call out looked amazing, but when I saw Breon not in that first call out, I was like, whoa, we're going a different
yeah,
direction here.
yeah. That I think it's kind of the passing of the torch here, and I'm very surprised also because I had Breon in my top five before the show. I thought he was going to be in that top five again, just based on the fact of who he is. He's never comes in off. He's always in shape, and he's a two-time Classic Olympia champion, right? And I got some flack for that. Like, why would you put Breon in the top five? I'm like, because he's a two-time Classic champ. Until I see him knocked off, I'm not going to believe it. Well, I got to believe it now because he got, 14th, and he says he's going to 212, and I probably would support that because he just seemed like he lost a lot of size. He lost a lot of size in his legs, a lot of pop. I mean, from the rear on those rear double bicep shots, he's still one of the best in the world. I think from the rear double bicep, I think he can hang with anyone in that first call out. But the rest of those shots, I mean, I just think he's lost too much. And you got to remember, Breon's in his mid 40s now, right? And as you get older in in your life, you're going to start losing muscle, and it's harder to maintain that muscle. And some guys have pulled off doing well in the Olympia in their 40s. I mean, Sean Roden won the Olympia; he was 43. Danny Hester was 47 when he won the first Classic Olympia. So it's possible, but Breon's been in this for a long time. He's been doing this a long time. And at some point, your body's going to take a toll, right? So I think him moving to 212 after this is going to be good for him, being able to put some size back on and not have to worry about a weight cap. I think it's going to be good for him, but very surprised that he was not in the top five, in my opinion. I had him in my top five before the show.
Yeah. Wishing Breon all the best, man.
For sure.
He's like the OG, man. He's
Yeah.
literally the reason why I got into Classic Physique. So,
He's
um,
definitely one of those OGs, and great guy, and I wish him all the best for sure. Love Breon.
yeah. So, now that we've got the results right here, let's go through the top three. This is going to be interesting, man, because so you made a point here that you had Terrence winning the show. So
I did.
I'll remind the audience again that James and I were there for prejudging. So we have a bit of a different perspective. Like we were watching the show as it went on. So, and as bodybuilders, we're gonna score the show in our head, and we're gonna be like, okay, this is what we see.
Yep.
This is who we have winning. So we want to do that for you guys. We want to score this live. So we're gonna go through all five mandatories and then give you guys our perspective on each pose and kind of how we saw it shaken out.
And you guys also got to remember that bodybuilding is extremely subjective. There's people that are going to love uh, a physique that someone else might not. Their definition of classic physique can be completely different than yours. So uh, that's one thing to keep in mind when you're seeing these shows is the judges are the same. They have their opinions, they have their likes, their dislikes, they have their favorites. Their perception of classic, and that's something we have to keep in mind here is that everyone has a different opinion. It's a very subjective sport.
Yep, wholeheartedly agree, man. It's James and I may have a different opinion than each other. We have maybe different opinions than the judges, but ultimately, we're just fans of the sport. We're athletes ourselves,
Always.
and um, we're just giving you guys a little bit of entertainment. We're not the ones sitting there judging the Olympia, so take everything we say with a grain of salt,
For
because
sure.
we have high respect for the judges, and we definitely have a lot of admiration and empathy for what they have to do as well. So um,
They got a
and a
lot of pressure to get it right, so
Absolutely, man. So we'll start out here with the old front double. So I wanted to make this comparison as fair as possible, just by showing this is the final stretch of poses. So they ran these guys through multiple rounds, and eventually Ramon was put in the middle last. So Mike was first in the middle, then Terrence was in the middle, and then Ramon was in the middle. Now this is the final call out. So this is after the first call out, second call out, you name it. So this is basically this is what determined who won the show. So
correct.
so looking at the front double, James, just walk me through what you're seeing here, man.
What I'm seeing is the first thing I'm looking at is look at the waists. Everyone's got a small waist, right? And it accentuates everybody's X frame, right? That's what we're looking for in classic physique, a small waist with an X frame, right? And to me, in this pose, Terrence wins this pose because his waist is so small compared to his the rest of his upper body, the rest of his lower body, and his X frame to me is the most impressive here as far as the overall shape. So in second, I have Mike because he also has that just a little bit less, but he also has very large arms, and his quads are excellent. And then in third in this pose, I have Ramon. I feel like the quads in this pose, Ramon did not accentuate his legs very well here, and he probably needs to get his arms a little bit higher. I think, in this front double bicep pose, I have Terrence, Mike, and Ramon in that order.
Yeah, I'm seeing something similar too, man. I would say it's really close between Terrence and Mike in this pose. I would probably go slight edge here, actually, to Mike. And the only reason I say that is the detail that you're seeing in the quads.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that differentiates it for
I
me.
can
But
see that.
I don't think it's really a runaway pose for either guy. I would probably go Mike, then Terrence, then Ramon. To me, you highlighted a great point. We're looking at the tie-in from the waist to the lats, especially on the front double bicep. I think that's probably the biggest component of this pose. Of course, you need balance throughout the physique with the quads and the biceps as well. But when I look at this, I see Mike and Terrence, they're a little bit more proportionate, I think,
Yeah,
throughout the entire pose than Ramon. I do think Ramon, and this has always been kind of a weaker point for him, he's always been a little limb dominant. I think he could
yeah,
use more lats still. I think that's about it. But he still looks phenomenal in the shot.
for
Like
sure.
I love Ramon's physique. If I had to pick a guy's physique that I wanted to look like, it would be
He's up
Ramon.
there.
Like I love his physique. So
Yeah, he's up there for
um
sure.
I would go Mike, then Terrence, then Ramon.
And Brant, something we have to keep in mind here is the three of these guys. So these are the top three in the world right now. Their physiques are completely different. All three of them. It's apples and oranges. What do you want? What do you like? I mean,
Exactly.
it's so different. You're comparing three different types of physiques, so you also have to keep that in mind.
Yep. So we'll move on to the side chest here. All right, James. So who do you got and why?
So again, I have Terrence in this pose just based on overall balance. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm looking at the first thing I'm looking at. So this is a side chest pose, right? I'm looking at the waist up, seeing what the proportions of the chest, the shoulders, um, the fullness, the separation, all of those things. And when I'm looking at this pose, I feel like Terrence is hitting it the best. I feel like he's hitting it properly. The left the left pectoral is extremely striated. It's full. It's popping next to his shoulder, and then the right pectoral closest to us is full. It's popping. It's in line with his other side of the chest and his shoulder. So I feel like he's hitting this pose the best. This is the way it's supposed to be done. I think maybe he could use a little bit more size in the legs here on this pose, or maybe it's just the way he's posing. But I feel like he's hitting it the best. And then I have Mike over here in second, in my opinion. I think he's hitting it pretty good, but it looks like that the chest side closest to us is not popping as much as Terrence's, if that makes sense. And then I have Ramon in third here. I feel like he's kind of arm dominant in this pose. He's not turning enough with that back shoulder towards us, and he's kind of just. It looks like almost like a side tricep. It's not. There's not enough rotation towards us in that upper body by Ramon.
The rotation's a very big component of the side chest, and that's something that's kind of evolved with time in classic, you notice.
Yeah, and Brand, if you look at this, I think Terrence is hitting it properly. Mike's actually over hitting it, and then Ramon's not hitting it enough.
Yeah, three very good examples of how to hit a side chest differently.
Right?
You know, it's
Yeah.
said to be the most technical pose in all bodybuilding for a good
Yep.
reason, right?
Yep.
If I had to score this one, I'm actually going to go a different route. So this is going to be where James and I disagree a little bit.
Which is
Um,
fine.
yeah. Um, so I'll play devil's advocate here, and the judges ended up going with Ramon, right? I
Right.
think here this is Ramon's best pose. This is his best pose by far, in my opinion, simply because it highlights his strongest points, which are his limbs and his density. That's the thing that really makes Ramon such a good bodybuilder. Is he's so damn dense, dude. He just has
Yep.
this like pop to his muscle, the fullness of the muscle bellies. And even though he's hitting the pose wrong, I think it's pretty close between he and Mike. Even though Terrence is posing this the best, I think really what I see here is more density with Mike and Ramon than Terrence. This is the only pose that I would say I have Terrence in last place on out of these three. I
Gotcha.
would say probably very slight edge to Mike here, then Ramon, then Terrence. And that's simply because I think Mike is displaying more width. Even though he's, opening up a little too much, I like I like his width in this pose, and he's making himself look bigger.
Way.
Ultimately, I think the only reason why Terrence loses this pose is really it's the top line width, the hamstring maybe a little bit, because I mean, God, look at Mike and Ramon's hamstrings. They're just so big, so in your face. um and I know Terrence has great legs too, so it very well could just be the way he's posing it. But of course, we're only going off of what we see right here. So
Exactly.
that's just the way I would score it. So I'd go Mike, Ramon, then Terrence.
Yeah, and Mike looks huge here. I mean,
Yeah.
I know he's over twisting on it, but that kind of goes to his advantage also. So
So we'll go with the back double here. This is where I think James and I are going to definitely agree on this one. James, what's your take on these guys hitting the back double?
so in this shot, I mean, sound like a broken record here. I got Terrence. I mean, I think from the back, I mean, look at his legs, the hamstring up through the glute, and then it goes all the way up, the conditioning, the separation, everything all the way up through his back. I mean, Terrence here with the legs from the rear, I mean, to me, this is probably Terrence's strongest pose here, where I think, to me, this was where I thought he was going to win, was because of how strong this pose is for him. I think he's just so put together from the rear. I thought he had this pose particularly, and I thought this was going to be the pose that won him the show. Obviously, it didn't, but I really see a lot of strengths here for Terrence. And then in second, I actually had Ramon in this pose because I think Ramon's separation and then his pop in his back, everything's full. I think, he has a lot of good balance here. And it looks like from the legs, he has a lot of balance too. His lower back here is very, very separated. And then third, I had Mike. I think in the lower body, Mike, at least in this photo, in this shot here, he just doesn't look like he's as streamlined and as conditioned from the waist down here as the other two guys, Terrence and Ramon. So if I had to score this, I would say Terrence one, Ramon two, and Mike third.
Very, very interesting stuff here, guys. I agree with Terrence winning this pose. This is the one pose right here where it looked way different in person. So much different in person.
For sure.
Like I'm looking at these photos and I'm like,
Doesn't do it justice.
it it does not do it justice because to me, Terrence in this shot in the back double, when they hit the shot, I was just like, oh, it's not even
It's
close.
over.
Like
It's
this
over.
this looks a lot closer when you're looking at a still of it,
Yeah.
personally. Um, but to me, I think Terrence has the best balance and proportionality out of everybody. And this still does not highlight how good his condition is from the back.
Yeah.
Um, he was a lot tighter and just had this extra hardness that is not displayed in this still right here, in my
Nope.
opinion. Um, I would probably go Terrence. Then I'm gonna actually go Mike here, simply because for me in the back double bicep, it's about width too. Just like in the front double, you got to have great width across the back. Now I think Ramon edges Mike out in terms of like back detail, but I mean Mike's back is massive. It's
Yeah.
just like slabs of meat back there, dude. And I also think the hamstrings are just so gnarly with Mike. Granted, Ramon looks like he has much bigger hamstrings. I got to go with the detail on this shot, even though I think Ramon looks great in the shot. I still think Mike edges him out with the width and also the condition here too as well. But to me, I don't think this is really a runaway shot for Mike or Ramon. I think is a pretty dominant shot for Terrence. So that's just my
Yeah,
thought.
and a consistent theme here is these are three completely different physiques. They're apples and oranges. It's you're judging the best in the world. It's actually the hardest thing to do when you're judging amateurs because everyone looks so different and there's such different levels of conditioning and all that stuff. It's actually really hard to judge amateurs, or it's easy to judge amateurs. It's very hard to judge top level pros because there's such a small amount of detail and difference that could be the thing that makes or breaks you.
Yeah, 100%, man. And speaking of small margins for detail, I mean, this ab and thigh is probably the hardest pose to score, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I mean
So
these
how
three,
you scoring this one?
the three of these guys are just unreal. I mean, when you say how are you judging this, it's like the best I can. Like it's very difficult. Like we're talking about three guys who are so put together, so lean, muscular, everything's in proportion. It's the littlest thing that's gonna separate these guys. And again, I don't know if it's a posing thing. I don't know if it's the way they're hitting the pose, but from the way that the pose is being hit here, I have Terrence. And I have him because he's hitting the pose the way it's supposed to be hit. You're not supposed to have your arms in too tight to your head, right? You want to have your arms out, your elbows out a little bit to show those lats, to show that muscularity in the lats as well when you're hitting this pose. Abs got to be there, and obviously you got to have one leg extended with the quad, right? Terrence is hitting this pose the way it's supposed to be hit. I mean, you can't hit this any better than the way he's doing it. And in this pose, I have him in first. As far as second, I have Mike because Mike, look at his quads. Look at his waist. I mean, he's hitting it. His arms are a little bit too tight to his head. I think he needs to, pop his elbows out a little bit more so he can show a little bit more lats. But if you look at the lats in these poses, Terrence has the ones flaring out the most, and he looks the most balanced. And then Ramon, I don't know if he's hitting it mid shot here. I don't know if this is like a transition. He's still transitioning into it, but it doesn't look like he's hitting it the way it needs to be done. So maybe this is a transition here, but I have Terrence, Mike, and Ramon in that order.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, man. I was looking at because there's multiple shots of each pose, and even though I think I accidentally grabbed the one where Ramon's right foot is up, which that's going to impact detail in your quad. You definitely want to have your right foot spiked. So, that this is not necessarily the best, way of him hitting it. I didn't really see much detail on his quads when I was looking through these shots.
Yeah.
And I think it's just he's just not hitting down on him. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Um, I would score the pose exactly the same way, and it's because Terrence is he looks the biggest because he's opened up from the
Yep.
top down. And while Mike has incredible detail, he's closed off up top. Ramon, good separation in the abs, but he needs to not only open up like Mike needs to, but he also needs to hit down on his quads, which the other guys are doing. So to me,
Exactly.
I think it's Terrence, Mike, then Ramon. And everybody hits like 50 different favorite classics. I chose the one where Ramon looks the best to try to
Yeah.
give him the benefit of the doubt because that's what you do for the champion, right? So, James, how are we scoring this one?
This is probably the hardest one to score for me. This classic pose here, because all of these guys, the point of the classic pose is to hit a pose that looks good on you, that accentuates your strengths the best, right? And that's what all of these guys are doing. They're all hitting poses that accentuate their strengths the best. And when I'm looking at these guys posing like this, um, and I'm just keeping it real, my eyes are drawn to Ramon here. And I'm saying that because look at his balance in this pose. This is an incredibly well done classic pose for Ramon. He's showing off all of his strengths here and hiding any weaknesses or flaws that he has, which is what bodybuilding and classic is all about. Ramon is here, he's hitting it in a way that's showing all his strengths, and my eyes are drawn to him here. So in this pose, I have Ramon winning this. This is the first one I have him winning. And if I'm looking at this objectively, I have Mike in second here because Mike is showing all his strengths here with his huge quads. He's got the vacuum going. He's got his huge arms. He's got that crazy shape. And Terrence, I mean, I have him third here. I think he can have a stronger classic pose than this. And I'm not sure that he hit this as his classic pose earlier this year when he won Pittsburgh and New York. I could be wrong, but I feel like he has stronger poses than this. And that's why I'm scoring it the way I am right here, where I'm going Ramon, Mike, and Terrence in that order. I think Ramon just absolutely nailed this one right here.
Yeah, Ramon looks massive, absolutely massive in the shot, dude. like, I, I will say the thing I really struggle with here is, as most people do with favorite classic poses, you're looking at like a bunch of different things, and there's no specific set of rules to follow and things.
Criteria.
You're looking at like different poses, so it's like, how do you score different poses? And to me, it comes down to wow factor, like you said. That's where this becomes really hard for me because like I really like my eyes are drawn to Ramon, but structurally, I don't know, man. It doesn't look the most classic to me. That could be an ice cold take, but I really think if he made a slight adjustment, this would be perfect, and
He
that
could
would
even
be
he could angle his head and look away to make it more, aesthetic looking, like a kind of like he's, you know what I mean?
yeah. I think he needs to hit a vacuum with this. I really do.
Yeah, he
I
could.
think he needs to hit a vacuum because as a guy with his structure, it's still I'm still trying to get over the lat tie in, and I
Right.
think to me this looks. I know this is a huge debate. Classic and bodybuilding, are they different things?
Are they the
Um,
same?
to me, this makes Ramon look a little bit more open esque, and my eyes are drawn to him. But this is your favorite classic pose, so I got Ramon in second here, only because he just look. I mean, he looks massive, and my eyes are drawn to him. I'm actually gonna go with Mike in this shot. I think Mike has the wow factor. Just like any front shot, dude, Mike is like lights out most of the time
Yeah,
because he has such an imposing structure from the front with that crazy, crazy taper from the lats to the waist, and then his quads as well. Just the detail does it for me. So
for sure.
I'm gonna go Mike, Ramon, Terrence in that. So that's just the way I would score it. Now, if we were to tally these up, um, just looking at this, so James would have had in first Terrence. So James would have had Terrence winning, then Ramon in second, and then
Yep,
Mike in third.
correct.
So if I would have been tallying these up, mine's a little bit murkier. Um, I got to look at this real quick. So I think I actually probably would have had. So yeah, so I would have had Mike slightly, very very close though, very very close. I think it's a. I thought it was a coin toss between Mike and Terrence, but slight edge to Mike, then Terrence, then Ramon. So this is what makes Classic so cool, guys. Is that different people have different opinions. We see different things, different physiques, and we ultimately come up with different stuff at the end of the day. The judges had Ramon winning, so it just goes to show, man. Like this division is so entertaining. I think that's the one thing we can all agree on. Is just
Yeah, for
Classic
sure.
is so deep, it's so captivating, and dude, I'm excited for the future of this division, man. I think that this is the first year where it's like we've had this uncertainty. And
Yep.
going forward, James, how do you see Classic kind of shaken out at the Olympia?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think there's a clear definition of what's classic, right? And there's people talking about Mike should be in 212, and some of these guys should be in 212 or they should go to the Open. And Urs did, right? Urs went to the Open. He's doing very well. So I think there are some guys in classic physique that probably should make that leap to the Open. I think Matt Grego is probably one of the strongest candidates. I think he would do very well in the Open. I think there's some guys that probably need to jump ship and move up because they're limiting their physiques. But like I said at the beginning of the video, I think there's a very deep, strong class here. And I think the top six in the world from this show are going to be around for a while. I think they're going to shuffle places maybe, but I don't see anyone breaking into that top six with the exception of possibly Justin Batterina. I think if he can really nail it next year, he might threaten that top six. But I think the top six is pretty solidified. That group is just so strong. Um, I don't see anyone cracking it, maybe besides Justin.
Yeah, Justin's another guy, man. I'm stoked for him because I know this has been a dream of his, and he's had to climb a mountain to get here, man.
Yep.
That dude works so damn hard, and it's great. It's great to see him kind of, you know, just rise to the top. And one thing that I think really gets glossed over is if we're talking like Bumstead esque looking physiques, man.
Yeah,
You got
exactly.
you got to talk Justin Batterina, but also another guy who kind of like slipped past a lot of people's radar. Who I had in my top five, didn't make the top five, but Fabian Meyer, man, he's another guy who I think
Yep.
he just has to nail a condition, man. His
Yeah.
condition just needs to be. It's I don't know if it's condition. It could be hardness. Hardness might be the right word for it because it's a different thing ultimately, and it comes down to fullness and electrolyte balance and whatnot. So he was in condition, but I think he needs a little bit more pop.
Yeah, and then someone else I would like to point out is Jose Ma. I mean, he's only 23, 24 years old, and he looks like that. If he can keep it together and keep pushing and getting better, Jose Ma at some point is probably going to be the classic champ. If he can hold it together, get better, and do what he needs to do to improve, being only 23, 24 years old, look at the top guys are in their lower 30s. He's got 8 years. 6 to 8 years to get there. So I mean, Jose Ma is somebody I would also watch out for sure.
Yeah, tons of potential on him, but he's already realized a lot of his potential. Just being, he's probably, pound for pound, the best from the back in the world, like best
Yeah, it's
posterior chain
insane. It's
already at
insane.
23. So like he just continues to fill out that structure in terms of like, especially like just trying to highlight the waist to lat ratio. That's the one hurdle that I think he has to climb. But to me, I saw a huge difference between New York and Pittsburgh and the Olympia with just his overall shape. He brought his shape up incredibly this year.
Yeah, yeah, and I've seen Jose Ma in person. I competed with him in person, and this guy, he pictures and photos do not do him justice. You have to see this guy in person to really understand what he's bringing, and it's something to behold. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that's real talk, man. Well, guys, it was a pleasure talking Olympia, and we just want to thank you for tuning in to Classic Physique Co. You can follow me at cpc.bodybuilding on Instagram. You can follow James on Instagram as well. Let me pull up his page real quick so you guys can give him a follow as well. Definitely want to thank James for his time.
For
He's
sure, man.
he's one of the OGs in Classic, so got a lot of love for James, and um, make sure you guys support him. Here is his page right here. You can follow him. It's James Anthony underscore IFBB Pro. So make sure you guys go show him some love there, and make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Gonna try to get back in the YouTube game, guys. I had some things to attend to in my personal life, bodybuilding among other things. So hoping to get this thing back up and rolling, talk more classic. So that's gonna do it for the show today, guys. I'm Brant, and that's James. Make sure you guys keep it classic. We'll catch you later.